Hello and welcome to Never a Foul. You know what time it is. It's your evening debate. Today we're talking about Man City. We're talking about who can catch them. They're in for Declan Rice, as everybody reported. I will be joined with Cass and also Nobbins. How are you feeling, Nobbins, today? How are you feeling? Look buzzing.
I'm feeling great. Thank you very much for asking, Mo. As Cass joins us, I think it's. I don't think we've actually spoken since our teams dukes it out in Istanbul. So yeah, I'm feeling fantastic. How about you?
I'm all right. I'm feeling good. Well, I'm feeling okay, right? With Man City strengthening, I'm not sure where the league goes from here. But everybody that is here, hit that like button for us. We are about to start the show, of course. We already started, but big up everybody that is here. I'm going to try to say some names. Kieran B is here saying if City get Gvardiol Rice, it's game over, which is what we're going to talk about. Big Factos is here. Rice going to Arsenal. City fans hope. They're not hoping, bro. Kieran B and Lucky Singh is here with us. Thank you so much. The Mad Hatta is here with us as well. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. Of course, it's too many comments. Big fact again. Okay, these guys are having. Abdullahi is here as well with us. But anyway, guys, you know what it is. If you want to get your comments, you want to get your super chats, you want to get your questions to Nobbins, to myself, or Cass, welcome in. But first, we know what it is. You hit that like button if you just joined the stream. Cass, how are you feeling? You look refreshed.
I don't look fresh. Are you mad? I've been sweating all day. Like, this heat is just weird. Luckily, it's been raining all of a sudden for about half an hour and just cooled everything down. You know, and that's probably just it's good for my hay fever. Let's put it like that. But other than that, now I'm good, of course. Just sorted out. You know, Netflix are trying to do this thing where
password share.
If you password sharing, you're not in the same household, right? You know, I'm trying to watch David Attenborough, Our Planet 2, and some Black Mirror, right? And they think they can stop me. So I told I literally just told my dad, I'm like, Dad, can you just make that linked profile? Yeah, make another profile and just send it to me. Yeah, what's your email? Done. There's loopholes and everything. There's loopholes just like what Chelsea are doing. There's loopholes.
You need to teach me this loophole.
Loophole what Newcastle might be doing, and other loopholes anywhere else in the game of UEFA right now. There's a loophole for everything, man. That's all I can say for that. But big up everyone that's in here, man. It's nice to talk to Nobbins again. If people don't know Nobbins, this is your great time to get to know him. That's might join a little bit later after an hour. He's been in London all day, so he's going to be knackered. And I don't fancy listening Daps about 10 minutes every time I ask him a question. It's good to have a little bit of a break, you know? Like, I know you won a treble. I know you went through the trenches, and I know you're here. You're here. All right, Daps. But big up everyone. Sorry about that. But no, the title is where it is, man. It's about, we've done an Arsenal segment. We've kind of done a Chelsea one, which evidently Dawood wanted to put Kai Havertz situation to it. We kind of ish done not really, but the whole question is, are Man City showing the league levels with this Declan Rice saying, if we want to come in and go get our guy, this is our chance to shine, and say, like, look, if we want a player, so you can't get him, this is going to be the case. Showing the league the power as well, not just Arsenal. And then is Declan, obviously you're here, Nobbins, to tell me, is these few signings and your few departures, is it enough for this summer potentially as well, man? So yeah, man, we might as well dive straight into that. Mm-hmm. What are you saying? How are you finding the window at the moment?
Yeah, it's a curious one. Sort of like around halfway through the season, there was like a sentiment that the next window would be a big overhaul, like one we haven't seen since like the 17-18 season, you know, where we brought in like Walker, Mendy, Bernardo, and we got rid of, you know, Sanya, Clichy, Kolarov, etc. And then sort of like the last third of the season happened, and it seemed like there was a squad harmony, and it was like, oh, maybe just like, you know, one addition here or there, and then we'll keep everyone on, you know, Gundo will extend, we won't sell Bernardo, all that sort of stuff. And then we won the treble, and then everyone wants to leave, it seems. So it's been like sort of a mix in terms of like what's been happening, but it does now seem like it was the initial thought process of, oh, actually, no, there is going to be a big overhaul incoming, which does make sense because, I mean, maybe one of like Fergie's best attributes was he's got a title-winning side, but even when it's at his strongest point, he moves on players, even though they have more to give, but he still moves them on. We saw it last season with Sterling, Jesus. Looks like we're seeing it potentially this season with, like names that have been quoted, like Bernardo, Mahrez, whoever. They still have a lot to give. But they're being moved on and potentially replaced. The Gundogan news was particularly upsetting. He's obviously like a big City legend, literally just captained a fantastic season for us. I really thought he was going to be staying, to be honest. I'm sure we'd be talking about like Declan Rice later and maybe where he fits in. Is he the Gundogan replacement? Is he, where does he fit into that side? But yes, I will always back our leaders and our board and Pep to make the right calls. I think you could probably count the number of failures in terms of signings under Pep on one hand. I can't really think of that many. So whoever they sign,
Mendy.
Yeah, the Mendy one's an interesting one. Obviously off pitch stuff aside, but at the time he was a perfect signing because we needed a left back. But injuries and something else. But like Nolito, you could argue Bravo, but it's not that many failures really. So
no. But I would call them more. Like even Jurgen Klopp, the early signings. Not all of the. Sometimes the early signings need to get there to get where you want to be in the next few years. They're just the stepping stone signings. I would like to call them more or less. No,
yeah, totally get what you mean. Yeah. So whoever we go for, whether it's Rice, whether it's whoever. I'm sure that they'll have their reasons for bringing them in, and So I'm approaching the window with optimism. I would love it if, again, I'm sure we'll talk about it. Gvardiol is the main one for me. I am warming up to the idea of Rice. Didn't really think about him before the window started, but things change, and a lot depends. City's window for me, a lot depends on who goes out. Like, so for example, if Mahrez and Bernardo stay, we won't look to strengthen that area. But if they do, then we'll need to get another right wing option, for example. So it all depends. It's all up in the air, to be honest.
Are you one of these fans who don't question your manager and board at all?
I lived through an era where we had some of the worst run decisions in the Premier League. So like when we brought in like the likes of the mighty Joe. And all those other players in that sort of era. So,
oh my God, Joe! Did you just say Joe?
Yeah, do you remember him?
Oh my word, I remember. Yeah.
And what was he called? Was it? I'm getting his name wrong. Jemba. Have I made that name up?
Jemba's Man United.
Jemba, Stephen Ireland. Selvan Distan in the back.
Oh, Distan was good.
Joe, the forward.
This time was great.
The one I always associated City with is Dunn. Is his name that?
He was class
oh
for
my
us.
God.
He was one of our best players.
Yeah, every time you look at Man City squad, he's there. Every single Man City picture is there.
This was solid as well, man.
Yeah, Distan was great. We'll be having none of this Distan slander. Yeah, Distan and Dunn, they were class.
Oh, the solid.
Yeah, and then
solid though,
and then even
Waynebridge at one point.
Waynebridge, yeah. But yeah,
Sean Wright Phillips twice.
He was class. Yeah, he was class. Sean, you're right. But yes, and even under, even when we got taken over, there were some dodgy signings like Jack Rodwell, Boney, Jovetic, Scott Sinclair, all these like really weird signings. But as I say, basically since Pep's joined, there haven't really been that many stinkers. If any.
Is that because it's Pep's system that makes them work, or is that because actually the signings are good?
A bit of both, but there have been a couple of failures. As I say, like Nolito, he had like 6 months where he scored a couple of goals and then he dipped. Claudio Bravo, I liked the idea of him, but he was actually the worst shot stopper I've ever seen. I mean, he didn't stop shots. I think there was like a point where he faced like 10 shots on target in a row and they all went in the back of the net, something mental like that.
Yeah, it's because of it's the way that Pep always had his goalkeepers. They are very protected, as Victor Valdez was, as Claudio Bravo was after that. It's the system that Barcelona play. It's the Messi effect. So comes the question is, do you think Pep Guardiola masks his players what do you call it?
Deficiencies?
Deficiencies, yes. Do you think that? The way he plays football, the way the system works, does it mask the deficiencies of some of your players?
I mean, to an extent, like if John Stones played for, Burnley or Chelsea or whoever, he probably wouldn't look as
Man
good.
United.
Oh, I didn't want to say Man United because Cass was on here. I didn't want to insult his team.
It doesn't matter. My team shit.
but yeah. I mean, to an extent, yeah. But and that's probably is why Guardiola's like the greatest coach in currently in football. So it's a bit of both. But our Pep does also just objectively improve players as well. So it's not a case of these are players who wouldn't flourish in another system under another manager. It's not like they're just a Pep Guardiola system merchant. They would also work in other systems. But yeah, Pep does. His best asset for me is bringing out the best in players and improving players.
Talking about the players that are coming into Man City, and I have an opinion about this, and I said that earlier this morning, that the Declan Rice with Calvin Phillips, he goes or he doesn't go. And I was listening to Khaldoon Al-Mubarak interview, and he looks like he wants consistency. And they know that Pep will leave at some point. So do you think that these signings, that the links with Declan Rice, especially someone like him, Gvardiol, is something that Pep will build for the next manager coming in? It's not only for the success this year or next year, because let's just say that's guaranteed. That's let's be realistic. It's guaranteed. Is it all about building a squad that is competitive even after Pep leaves?
I've never even really thought about it like that. Potentially. I mean, one of my biggest gripes with Fergie was, and you can say that, it's not his fault because of the owners or whatever, but at the end of the day, he did leave that defense in like one of the worst states you could ever leave it in. Like Evra was a pensioner, Ferdinand was dead, Vidic also,
Phil Jones, Chris Smalling.
Yeah, so maybe there is a part of Pep
Johnny
thinking
Evans.
That maybe I do need to build for the future, but also even if like Pep had I think he's got 2 years on his contract. For argument's sake, let's say he had 5 years and he wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. I do still think these are the sorts of profile of players that he would want anyway, regardless of sort of future building. Like we've had our eye on Gvardiol.
I do find interesting. Gvardiol's solid, but the other two, one maybe. Don't understand it.
Which ones are those? Sorry.
So I'm not the biggest fan of this new form team that's got and that's okay. I'm not a City fan, but I'm just talking from a mutual respect. I'm not convinced that this is the City team that's gonna go on and go win another Premier League next season. That's what I don't think anyways. Reason why I think there's such a massive overhaul is because Pep says this thing, and not just Pep, all the great managers. When a player's done it all, you need to realize when to replace them, because that hunger goes. Whether you like it or not, you think you can re-energize them to go again, but it's hard, especially when there's already a couple players that already do want to leave that are leaving. Gundogan, one of them, might be hard to get him going again. Maybe like he put his all into the Champions League, right? And it's not me undermining or anything along them lines. I'm not doubting what Pep can do. I just feel like you need that. You've been there. You need to just maybe take that little step before you go there again. And you have to think about what's next for the future of City. So that's why I go along them lines thinking, look, this is the way I look at it. And I know he's not going to be the direct replacement, but Gundo leaving, right, and getting Declan Rice, and then Bernardo Silva leaving, Kovacic, you'll probably go get, that's if he does leave. This is all big ifs. I don't want to play the safe route thinking City going to go and dominate, because it's such an easy subject to go towards in this day and age, where if Bernardo leaves and you see Kovacic come in, I don't know who the next one is to really know. Look, Declan Rice is so different from Gundo, and I'm not saying he can ever be a Gundo, but I don't see it. It's just I'm thinking you're losing a lot of them class players where Rice is still yet to prove something to himself and to Pep and to the league that he's a top class player. Kovacic as well needs to overcome, which I believe he can with City's medical history in their books and everything. He can do that. And I think he's just there to be a squad player anyways. I don't know why people keep thinking he's a replacement for Rodri in case he gets in. Kovacic is not a DM. He never is and never will be. But if Pep wants to make him a DM, I'm pretty sure he can do it. But what I'm trying to say is he's going to have something different. He's going to have to make up a new plan. And I just feel like when you miss potentially Mahrez, you might stay, might go anyways, as well. Potentially Walker as well. You're going to have to go again. And I've been saying this to Daps as well. I said, I don't think this is the season where you go and want to go win the pool. Yes, you obviously want to compete, but sometimes you just have to recognize where it is. And see, I've done this before, and we know this as well. And I just think it's going to take maybe a little bit of time just to get it together again before they go again and say, yeah, you know what, we're going to go win another double. Something like that. That's just my theory behind it.
Okay, that's interesting because so it seems to me that you think that if we're to assume that Rice comes in and Gvardiol comes in and Kovacic comes in. So if we're assuming that, you seem to be thinking you stating that you believe that's a net negative in terms of squad quality. Is that fair to say?
Gvardiol's not squad net. Nah, not really. But off of Kovacic and Gundo compared to those two, and I know again, this is for direct replacement. It's not direct replacements all in all because you can be I say this every stream so I don't upset City fans. You could be linked to a bad boy right winger tomorrow, and this whole conversation changes. But as it currently stands, of midfielders that I'm currently thinking about, I like the idea of.
I actually think the otherwise, cuz I think they improve. Declan Rice next to Rodri.
There's no way you can improve. This is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Declan Rice next to Rodri. Declan Rice next to Rodri. John Stones drops back. Gvardiol on the left. Diaz in the center. Nathan Aki and Akanji on the bench or something. Declan Rice, Rodri. Foden, Kevin De Bruyne behind Haaland. Bernardo leaves for 70, 80 million. They get another 70, 80 million winger.
Yeah, potentially, but I just don't.
Okay, so as of now, with the Rice, if they get the Rice over the line, Rice and Rodri are better than Stones and Rodri, assuming that Stones will drop back to the center back position, right center back. That's a better starting lineup, isn't it?
Yeah, in a way, like defensively, it sounds solid, but when I'm thinking of creativity and stuff like that,
Foden and KDB behind Haaland, Cass.
Yeah, I don't care. That's another year on KDB, man. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but to top them numbers from this season alone, wow, you're gonna have to be KDB-esque to do that. Only KDB can do that, right? But I'm not disrespecting none of them. Gvardiol's not gonna come in and sit down Aki and Akanji all of a sudden. He's gonna have to prove himself as well, by the way. But it's a great option. But I feel like you lose your creative spark. And if there was something throughout the season that we noticed about Man City, because we're all saying the same thing. Again, this comes down to recency bias, right? This is all the same. Before then, we were all saying, yeah, Man City don't look the same, because the creative spark trying to get into Haaland and more Haaland, it was not there. This is what I'm trying to go towards. And now you lose your Gundo and Bernardo, potentially, by the way, and potentially Mahrez. But I think he stays, by the way. You're losing on creativity depth in abundance. And that's where it makes me think, who is going to be this potential right winger? Maybe it might not be a right winger. Maybe Foden goes over there with Mahrez. They look towards a left winger, potentially. Maybe Leao, maybe it could be someone a bit more direct. The goals, I want to know where all the goals come from as well. Not just good that you need, because City, for as far as I know, always got beyond Haaland, KDB goals. Foden's had a good goal, so I think he's going to beat it, right? Mahrez goals. We all know this. And Gundogan is a clutch guy. Bernardo Silva, clutch guy as well. Rice is obviously that's not their game, and that's what makes me think: are you going to go get maybe a Barella, maybe go get another centre mid, or do you go around the right wing option? That's all I'm saying, and that's it. So I don't really want to be I'm just trying to provide what do you call it again? You said it yesterday, that devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate. Yeah, which is, I like it because it creates a debate. Otherwise, we just sit here and say, yeah, City will win every year. I like this because we have to argue here. I'm going to let Nobbins talk, but I still think I'm going to say that 3 in the midfield, Stones, Rodri, and Rice, and behind the striker, Foden, Kovacic, KDB, is very good to still go and win every competition. Assuming that John Stones, even when Rodri and Rice start, he will drop center back. Calvin Phillips doesn't have a spot, but maybe he will have. That means these 7 players will battle for 4 positions. That's good enough. That's very good. That's actually an improvement on the squad depth that they had this year. Sometime this year, Pep Guardiola had to rely on Rico Lewis to fill in that Stones position next to Rodri in the middle, to come the inverted right back, or whatever you call it. I stopped calling it inverted. It's an actually pivot. It's a double pivot in the midfield. It's a 2 and then 2 in front of them. This is what I think it is. The same formation. I think Rice is an upgrade on Stones. Maybe Gundogan, you guys are like, yeah, he's doing this and that. Gundogan, has he played every single game last year? No. How did Foden look at the end of the season? Looked absolutely fantastic. Like in that Champions League final, I was so scared of Phil Foden. And we know that Phil Foden in full potential is an immense player, can score, can create, a little bit selfish, but Pep can mold that. Kovacic, with Pep Guardiola, he can bring the best out of him. I think Kovacic, Foden, KDB is an absolute fantastic trio. Two of them are going to play behind Haaland. Come on. Like, I get what you're saying, Cass, that transition, but he's already replacing them with some people that already played in the Premier League. It's not like some people that came from outside.
It doesn't mean anything to me, because I've seen that Pep can't make all these players magically go forward. Look at Jack Grealish after a year. Look at Calvin Phillips after a year. Sometimes it takes a year to get going again. Are we going to also ignore that? You know, it might take Declan Rice a year to get on board with tactics. He's been playing under David Moyes on a transition ball, you know? And I think he's definitely clued up to work under something disciplined, right? And I think Rice is overrated anyway. I think he's a very, very good player that can be up there, but he's not there yet. That's all I'm trying to say. The thing is, we can call Pep the mastermind, which he is, and he's a genius, which he is. And you can call him every name under the sun that remains positive. But you have to also be realistic as well. That's all I'm trying to get towards. And it's the same way. I've done this for Arsenal as well. I've done the good and the bad. I'll do it for my own team soon, and that'll be mainly bad. And then and then I'll go through it. I've done it with Chelsea as well. I'm just saying, you can't just sit here and start being positive. You have to look at some of the other aspects to it, because you know, when something's so obvious in a season, like last season, we're saying, yeah, Liverpool are gonna probably go win the league, or because they failed at that time, you know, or Chelsea are going to be great because they got abundance of money that's been influxed into their team. Tuchel's going to go on and do something. It didn't happen, did it? Like, the obvious sometimes is not always so obvious. And it's okay to do it. Look at Fergie. I'll say this all the time to Daps. Look at Fergie as well. And he in the end, he agreed. Every time he done like a 3P or some sort of double, when he had to renew that squad, sometimes you have to sit in that second place before you go again. That's exactly what Man United done over and over again in dominant periods. This is Man City's dominant period. Sometimes you have to take a step back. It doesn't mean you can go win 10 titles in a row, because it'd be impossible. It's just not the way football works. That's all I'm trying to go towards. I don't know if you agree with some of them points, or you can challenge me on some of them points. I'm welcome to the challenge, man. I love it.
No, yeah, no, I totally understand. Yeah, but I do disagree, because
of course
just based on what I was saying before, I do think that overall this would be, again, we're assuming a lot here. Maybe Declan Rice goes to Arsenal, whatever. But if we are to assume these signings happen, then I do think overall it is a net positive. I think the only player who I would have wanted in that, you know, if that Ake position could have been improved, it would be Gvardiol. If Gundogan is almost unique as a midfielder in that, you know, he came to us as an 8, but then Pep coached him in order to play as like the lone 6, but also a defensive midfielder alongside another, even behind the striker. And Rice is sort of like that, in that he's going to come to us more as a 6, but also as I've always described him as sort of like a progressive 6 who is still capable of making those forward runs and carrying the ball. So I know a lot of like lineups have been shared on like Twitter on how City will line up, but I don't think that it will be like a Rice, Rodri pivot, whatever you want to call it. My theory is that Rice is basically going to be played more as an 8. And is that, you know, is he a perfect 8 right now? No, not necessarily. You know, he's more associated with being a more defensive-minded player, but this is Guardiola we're talking about. There's no reason why he can't get that potential out of him. And just your point on, you know, will this be like a transitional period for City? It's only going to be, you know, one or two players in which that's going to be the case. So
you raised some good points. Yeah.
If anything, you know, the likes of like a Haaland, for example, I think he's only going to get better, which is terrifying. Jack Grealish, that is terrified. He's terrified. Yeah. Jack Grealish has just come off a fantastic season. He's going to be even better, I think, and hopefully, Mo touched on it. When City won the title, Pep insisted on playing Foden central every single game thereafter. So it's in the centre and midfield. So he played him centrally against Chelsea, Brighton, Brentford, and in at least 2 of those games he got man of the match, I'm pretty sure, or I certainly thought he was our best player. And then in the Champions League final, at the biggest game of our season, you know, does he bring on Mahrez? for KDB and like move Bernardo centrally. No, he places his faith in Phil Foden for the tip of that diamond. So my theory is that next season, so I know you made the point on creativity.
Diamond?
Foden, sorry?
Did you say diamond?
We played a diamond in the Champions League
4
final, yeah.
midfielders, 4 midfielders.
Yeah, no, you know what? Hey, good spotting, you know.
Yeah, because
Hey,
Rodri.
What are you doubting Nobbin's footballing understanding?
Nobbins is
This is
crazy,
what it
Nobbins-
is now.
Nobbins is he articulates himself very well to the point you can't be rude or shout over him. So
Wait, you can be rude.
no, I can be rude only, but is your name Mons? You know what I mean? So it's another name. That's all I'm trying to go towards as well. But no, but carry on. I'm interested. This actually enlightens
No,
me.
yeah. So just briefly on the diamond in the final, we played Rodri at the base. He started with De Bruyne on the left of it and Gundo. Gundo on the left, Stones on the right, and then KDB at the tip. That then changed. Obviously, De Bruyne went off, and Foden came on at the tip of that diamond again in that central midfield role behind the striker. So my theory is that, and my hope is that next season, Foden's, especially with De Bruyne's injury, is going to be given much more playing time in that central position, whether that's alongside Rice or Kovacic or whoever, especially whilst De Bruyne is out. So my theory is that that's going to be his best, because that is his best position. Foden said that. Gvardiol has said that. My eyes have told me that. And especially with Gundogan leaving, that's hopefully going to present more of an opportunity for that to transpire. So, yes, I don't think there'll be a central midfield lack of creativity. Maybe even having Rice as more of like an offensive 8, but still a defensive-minded player will allow whoever's in that other 8 position, whether it's De Bruyne or Foden, to be unlocked. So that's my thought process.
Before we move on to the next question and the next argument here, guys, like almost 500 of you here, not even on 150 likes. Come on, get the likes up, please. And a couple of super chats here to do. Slim Aki saying, not enough transition in England for any of these clubs to catch us next year. Are we ignoring the level of quality we still have in comparison? We will talk about this in a bit. I think if Arsenal get Rice, yes, but if Arsenal get Rice, Chelsea get Caicedo, and they have Nkunku, and they get a striker, I think the gap is a little bit smaller. If you get a Barella and you get Mount and you get a striker of a Kolomwani, the gap is kind of shrinking a little bit.
It may be a shrink, but don't put us in that equation yet, because it's your if buts and maybes with Man United is a zilch right now.
But the same thing is that we're saying if they get Declan Rice, if they get Gvardiol, Man City, we're talking ifs here. We're talking reports, as we've been doing in the last days.
That's the whole point. You know, that's a sick. I'm so glad, because there might be a bunch of Arsenal fans in here. Guna Lee said last week directly on Kopish, last week Thursday, I believe it was last week Thursday, that he'd been told that Declan Rice is 100% going to be joining Arsenal. Now, I think his Arsenal might be squeaking a little bit from that comment because of the Man City stuff and David Ornstein. You can't deny it. And which is fine. That ITK stuff will get zilch. But to be fair to Guna Lee, he's been he's actually been very accurate. Saka deal, Martinelli deal, stuff like he knows stuff. He even knew stuff about Sancho that I knew as well, which was funny because that must mean we got a mutual person in somewhere, which I think I kind of clocked on. He's not like, you have to rate it. But remember when I said the other day, right, Mo? I think it was a few days ago before the Arsenal stuff and that. I said at this current moment of time, I can see Arsenal going and winning the league with their current targets and potentially what they go on. This is before Havertz, to be fair. You know, this is before the Havertz stuff.
It was the Caicedo one, right? We were talking about the Caicedo.
The Caicedo stuff and the Rice and all this kind of stuff. But then when you say now City might pinch Rice off of them, and I'm wondering who they're going to be targeting Arsenal. That's changed. And I think someone must have asked me who I think is going to be winning the league next year now. I'm going to tell you, just as it currently stands and what we logically think, if there's off that basis of transfers currently, I can't say anybody. I really don't know. And right now, if you're going to trust anyone to go win the league, and I hate to admit it, right now it currently stands as City, because I think everything else is in absolute disarray right now. And yeah, why are you smiling? Don't smile like that. It's not allowed. But but right now, as it currently stands in my head, it does point towards C. But I don't think the window is going to end like that. Of course not.
This City Bias TV with another question. It's exactly what Kaz just said. Who is going to win the league, Kaz? United or Arsenal?
Okay,
he just answered.
Nice.
He just answered. Nobody. It's going to be Man City.
As I said, as it currently stands, with what we can see off of reports and what you believe and don't believe, it does pinpoint down to see at the end of the day, it's the quality of stuff. Until Arsenal, I don't know, get their finger out their arseholes and go and do something, like, and go get Rice and go get the targets that we think they're gonna do, then yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but it's gonna be very interesting. It's hard to call. It's very hard to call. There's another super chat if you don't mind.
Yes. So Rice swap with McTominay, Maguire, and Elanga. I've seen this, but nothing yet is out there.
I haven't seen McTominay, but I saw Maguire and Elanga and 40 million might be on the table, but nah.
I don't think that will tempt them, because that doesn't.
The only thing that'll tempt them is 60 million with a lot of money. They want money up front. That's what we know. But I know they want Maguire, but I don't think they would want Elanga, man. That smells.
They would take Calvin Phillips. I'm assuming they would take Calvin Phillips.
They can't have him. I want my Yorkshire pudding.
So I think this is very tempting, because they want the money up front so they can replace Declan Rice. But if you give them someone like Calvin Phillips, who's an England international, yes, had a terrible season at City because he didn't play, you're already sparing them the headache of going and looking for another midfielder to replace Rice, plus money. I think that's a very good option for West Ham and Man City. You get rid of a player that didn't work out, and you get a better player as someone that is already on form. What do you think about that?
I don't really like the idea of it, because as I mentioned before, I don't think Rice comes to City to play defensive midfield. I know he can slot in there or whatever, if Rodri needs a rest, but I still want Phillips there to... I haven't given up on Phillips. I still think there is a really good player in there. Cass touched on it before. Lots of players at City do require a full season, especially Phillips, who was injured for about half of it as well. And also, it is Rodri, so you're never going to be able to relieve him of his starting position. So I wouldn't like to get rid of Phillips. I know I can understand, Kovacic could play there in a pinch. Rodri can obviously play there. We've learned that Stones can play there. But I personally would rather a trade not be involved, because I would rather Rice be used more as closer to an 8 than a 6 if he's coming to City. Definitely
going to be used as an 8. I've been telling this guy's an 8. He's not a 6. Why do you keep guys thinking he can be a 6? He can't do what Rodri does either. That's what I mean. He's overrated. No, is he not overrated?
Sorry, who's overrated?
Do you think Rice is overrated? I'm not saying that means he's a bad player. I'm just saying, do you think he's overrated for what people think him to be?
I take your 6 point, because I think his weakness is probably his inability to receive the ball when he probably should receive the ball, and his inability to break lines. So a really good example of this was England against France in the most recent World Cup in the quarterfinals. And John Stones, who's obviously really used to playing with Rodri, the best defensive midfielder in the world. Rodri, obviously, I know most thinking Brozovic.
No, I'm just read the news. Declan Rice getting closer to Man City. That's Gianluca Di Marzio. Confidence to reach final agreement with West Ham. That's from Sky Sports.
Yeah, Di Marzio don't know English transfers. I'll tell you now. Let him stick to his Italian.
It's not him. He's copying from Sky Sports.
Is that what Sky Sports is saying, or is Sky Sports copying from him? Because Sky Sports have no sources.
So who has the right sources then?
It's good enough for me.
Who has the right sources, bro?
What's Sky Sports doing? Because I'm not trying to see Sky Sports Sheaf or whatever his name is. I can't remember his name. And Sky Sports Keith, that man there. But to be fair, maybe Di Marzio does know something more than us. Maybe he's been, I don't know.
Something definitely more than me.
I just thought, yeah, of course. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm a journalist, but when it comes to Di Marzio, I've seen so much stuff when it comes to English transfers over the last few years. The guy used to be top tier, alongside Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah.
Up and coming Fabrizio Romano. I just don't think he knows the English transfers like that. And I feel like before he's got the piece on it, or he's the first man to get a piece on it, I just don't I just don't think it's going to be him, man. I'll just be like, wait for Ornstein. Maybe even wait for Fabrizio. I know he's a bit of a tapping, but he would know more of a thing or two about English transfers more than Di Marzio. I would say. Darmesh, yeah, him, fraud. Can't stand these guys, man.
Sorry to cut you off. I just caught my eye. I'm sorry, Nobbins, to cut you off.
That's absolutely fine. No, yeah. So England, France, that's where the weaknesses of Rice was identified, because, as I say, Stones is used to playing with a defensive midfielder who basically knows what he's doing. He knows where to be to receive the ball, etc. And you could visibly see, there was a moment in that match where you could visibly see Stones getting angry and frustrated with Rice because he wasn't moving into the right areas. He was literally pointing to Rice and telling him, "You need to stand there. You need to stand there, so I can actually, when I receive the ball, I can actually play it to you. We can bypass France's forwards here." So that he does need a lot of coaching. He's nowhere near the finished product. I think he's only 24, though, in fairness to him, and he has been playing at a more negative football side in West Ham compared to, say, the way City play. So, but I do think there is definitely a really good player in there. Is he as good as Gundogan now? No, obviously not. Could he be as good as Gundogan or whoever? There's no reason why not. So I take your point about him potentially being overrated, probably just because he's English. But at the same time, I do think there is the potential for a really good City player in there.
I want to move to a different area of the pitch of Man City. Everybody talks about the cover for every position. You have a cover for every position, but there's only one position that you don't have any cover for, which is the left-sided winger for you. That's the only place. The thing about that, the reason why I'm mentioning this, because now Haaland has been quiet in terms of scoring over the past like a month or something, the last like 10 games or 9 games. So it looks like, I'm not going to sit here and predict the future, but it looks like some teams are now doubling on him, knowing how to mark him. So that normally allows the wingers to contribute more in terms of scoring, which is we have seen Bernardo Silva in the semi-final really popping up. Even in the final, Bernardo Silva is the one who moved from the striker position behind the defense and received that ball from Akanji to score. Do you see, if Haaland doesn't score, do you see Jack Grealish stepping up and scoring double digits goals in the league at least? Or you'll need someone to score goals and Jack Grealish moves a little bit behind the forward, does what he does, carry the ball, contribute more to the ball position and maybe the creativity behind the forward and getting someone else on the left side?
I don't think so. Because I think you mentioned it. It's all well and good trying to mark out Haaland, but you can't do it with one player. Normally requires two. And
no, it didn't. It was only a Cherby, so yeah, and it was only Rudiger. So
yeah, and in that Champions League final, where the goal it was actually a bit of Foden as well. Both Foden and Haaland made that forward run, and that's how Rodri was afforded so much space. And we see that's what happens. It's not as simple as
it was not a deflection, though. Let's be real.
No, but you understand the principle.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm just being sorry.
No, yeah, and
Barella was tired, and Marco fell on the ground. And Lautaro Martinez was tired because he played 2 months before. And Lukaku, Lukaku was there. And Onana was blinded by Hakan Çalhanoğlu. And I was watching at home. There's too many reasons why that goal went in.
Yeah, and we even saw it like in like the second game of the season, home against Bournemouth. I remember talking about it because Haaland didn't get. I think he made 7 touches in that game, and everyone's like, "Oh, he didn't get a touch to the low," which is a weird argument. But there was like a Kevin De Bruyne goal where he was like running with the ball. It was a fantastic finish. I think it was to the outsider's foot or something in the first half or something. And Haaland's mere presence dragged everyone towards him, and it gave De Bruyne so much space. And he was like, "Well, I'm just gonna shoot, and I'm gonna score," and that's exactly what happened. So, do other players need to step up and score? Like, yeah, obviously, Haaland can't. Be expected to score another, 52 goals every single season in his time at City, even though it wouldn't surprise me if he did do that. But we've got plenty of other players who can contribute with really important goals. Whether it's, I would like to see more goals from Grealish, but it's not necessarily the strongest part of his game. It doesn't have to be. But even Rodri, as we've seen, Rice, maybe that's something that he can add to his game in more consistently. Foden was actually on for Foden was actually on for his best ever season at City, but he got 1 injury, 2 injury, 3 injuries in total. So an injury-free Foden will be another big source of goals.
Not every day you need your appendix removed. To be fair,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had appendicitis.
Happen often.
Yeah, and he picked up an injury. Exactly. And he picked up an injury against in like the last England game, which got worse at Old Trafford, and then he came back, looked brilliant, and then appendicitis. So yeah, an injury-free Foden will be popping in the goals as well. So yeah, I don't think teams will be able to shut out Haaland forever, and even if they do, that could just.
But
create
you didn't
space for
address
everyone
the
else.
left side yet. I asked a question about the
agree,
left side.
I agree with you. In my like lineup 11 app, where I make like a fantasy team of like my favorite City team, what I want my City team to be. I agree that we need another option on the left because right now that's Foden, but I've talked about how I want Foden to be in the middle. So in an ideal world, we would either bring up a youth player who's called, I think it's called Carlos Borges. Never seen him play, but he's apparently quite good. I've been reliably informed by people who do watch the youth games.
I don't think he's ready. I don't think he's ready.
That's also what I've been told, so maybe not. Another interesting option might be Sergio Gomez, who plays there for Spain under 21s. I've decided he's not a defender.
He's definitely not a defender.
And we don't even use fullbacks anymore. So just commit, get him to left wing. But in an ideal world, I would love someone like Matoma of Brighton, just another option on that left side. Again, that is the dream. Don't think it'll happen. Well, that's definitely not going to happen. He's not going to come here to play second fiddle, is he? After one season in Napoli.
He's definitely putting Jack Grealish on the bench like from day one. What are you talking?
Have you seen Jack Grealish's calves? That is...
Listen. If you can drink like Jack Grealish, then you
can play football forever.
Oh, come on. Jack Grealish is in English folklore.
Did you see what he told the press? Someone was asking him about you drinking and all this stuff and you partied for 4 days. He said, I started preseason in July. I've not stopped.
Let me have
until
fun.
June.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
Why are you talking about me?
I
sat there and I was watching the interview. I'm like, you really know what to say because you literally just told him.
He's
get off my back. I just want to dribble and I played for 1 year. Get off my back.
Well, do you know what? If we'd had a bad season, Grealish had a bad season, we won nothing, then I get it, 100%, right? But Jack Grealish we've had this conversation before. He's been one of our first names on the team sheet. And let me be clear, I'm not saying he's more important than other people, but Pep don't rest Jack Grealish because he knows his fitness is there and he can go. Jack Grealish is, I'll be pretty confident to say, if you look at game time, Grealish is probably up there with the most game time out of City players, right? Give him a fucking break, man. Listen, if he comes back and he's overweight in August, no problem, cook him. But he's just done a treble, being the realest guy out there. He's had a drink. So what? Like, he's done worse. In his career, Jack Grealish has done a lot worse than celebrate a treble. But, Rice.
Anyway, let's go back to the footballing. Let's go back to the footballing side.
Vanilla rice, baby.
Let's go back to the footballing side. We were talking about that side.
But it's like Jude Bellingham. I wasn't that bothered about having Jude Bellingham, but it was like I would have liked to get him to piss Liverpool off. We couldn't do that. Now with Arsenal, it's like we are really the thorn in their side. Like they must be like, not fucking this club. Can you just leave us alone, please? Like, and I don't know. I still think he might end up going Arsenal. But the more I see, the more it's like, oh, it really might not be that. And if he does, he does. It's not a big deal. But if he doesn't, Arteta needs to be looking at Arsenal's board and go, what the fuck are you doing? If you've been speaking to him since January, why are we getting Havertz, who we started speaking to 2 weeks ago or a week ago, but we still haven't got Declan Rice yet? There must be something to why has Rice not gone yet? Now, it might be West Ham don't want to sell to Arsenal and West Ham want to sell to City because they think that the bonuses with City are far more likely to be hit than the bonuses with Arsenal. But it's a transfer window. It's fun. It would be fun to have him just to say Arsenal. It's fun, isn't it? It's funny. It's funny.
Okay.
What other news is there today, though? Because I've been having the time of my life.
Other than Walker potentially talking with Bayern again, it's Bernardo. The whole Bernardo Silva saying he has no interest in potentially joining the Saudi League, and all of a sudden the Saudi League is tempting him enough. But then I think it was Sami Mokbel or someone along them lines was saying along the lines, it would have made sense. He'd rather stay and go somewhere. The only destination he can actually go really is PSG. That's the only.
Can I ask a question about Bernardo? If Bernardo leaves, we got two Man City fans here, content creators. Probably watch football
fans
as
first,
well outside.
Second.
No.
The disrespect.
Because you're a fan first before you became a content creator. Who do you think can replace Bernardo? Is it going to be a good name?
No one.
No one.
No one. So, you don't replace players. You change it and you go again.
Okay. Is it gonna? Okay, I get what you're saying. Is it gonna be a big name then, or someone who Pep will develop? Like, do you think you're gonna get another marquee sign? Like Bernardo, when he came, he was a star for Monaco. Like that Champions League run.
Yeah, but he wasn't.
He
we
wasn't a
signed him- we
superstar, but
signed
he
him
was
early
a.
doors.
He was. Yes,
Yeah,
I get what
yeah,
you're
we
saying.
signed him early
But
doors.
what
I
I
don't
mean
know
is that
who's
is he
for.
gonna get someone that we don't know about? That is Pep only
Nah,
knows
Do you
about
know
his
what?
scouting
If you look at
system?
it, if you right, so if you look at it, we've got Kovacic. I don't know if that's completely done yet, but we've got Kovacic. It's looking like we're going for someone like Rice. I can't see us going for a third midfielder. If we get them two, it just means like we spoke about this before. When people say,
No, I
who
mean a
will-
winger depth like a Mahrez, a
see,
Bernardo, a
Bernardo,
Grealish.
Bernardo hasn't really been a winger for a while. He, you know,
This
when
year,
he
has been.
arrived, he was a winger, but he plays more in a. Yeah, when De Bruyne's there, I get what you're saying.
I only want to know, what do you guys think and
I
what do
ha-
you want? Do you
I-
want
I-
a big name? Do you want a Mahrez
give a fuck.
stature name?
So
Or do you
I don't
want
think there is a big name. I don't think you could name me one in world football, to be fair. A profile that Pep wants. Basically, what we need is a left-footed Jack Grealish. Is basically what we're after. Now, I'd have thought about this, and I could not think of anyone at the highest level who would realistically be available. The names I landed on were Ousmane Dembele from Barca, who is always injured and wouldn't leave Barca
not
anyway.
disciplined enough for Pep Guardiola?
That too, maybe, because again, people are like quoting all these like really pacey, direct wingers, like Leroy Sané and Coman and all these fun players.
Yeah.
We are not that team anymore.
The reason why Pep got rid of Leroy Sané.
Yeah. So what we need is either a left-footed right winger who plays like Grealish, or a left-footed central midfielder who can also play on the right wing. Now, actually, we do have someone in the team who can already do that, and his name is Phil Foden. But I don't want him to play on the right wing next season. I want him to play centrally. So in the worst case scenario, if we lose both Mahrez and we lose Bernardo, the only conclusion I came to was Phil Foden's got to play there. Saka, Clarky Boy just said it in the chat, and this was another conversation I had on stream. Saka would literally be the perfect player, but he ain't ever leaving Arsenal. Let's be honest, especially because he just signed a new contract. So that's fairy tale thinking. So the only player who I could actually come up with, people are saying Neymar on the chat. He needs to be left-footed, guys. The only player I could think of was that too. The only player I could think of really was Phil Foden, who is a midfielder but can also play on the right wing. And he's left-footed.
What about Julian Alvarez, guys?
There we go. Who's already there?
What are you going to say that, Cass? I'm sorry, apologies.
No, I'll say Mohamed Kudus, the guy from Ajax, left-footed, plays kind of like that. Very silky player as well. I know actually plays like Bernardo when you deep it. Can play anywhere.
I don't know enough about
I'd
him.
be lying to you if I told you I watched any Eredivisie this season.
Definitely watched him with me in the World Cup. But
For
other
real?
than that,
I have.
I'm
not going to just say it's all right.
No, go on, man.
Oh my!
I can't. No.
It's because it's an
Nobbins is right.
No. Kudus. You're talking about Kudus, right?
Yeah, Kudus. Yeah.
Okay. So basically, Pep doesn't like players that are not disciplined. He likes players that are disciplined. So the likes of
He's young.
There's no profiling here, right? He is kind of like the flair player that likes to do it on his own, like the Zaha style. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think Pep would want to go for these guys. Like
No.
when Jack Grealish didn't do, which is what I'm understanding, what he wanted or he couldn't, he kind of like didn't play him. And this year, we've been told that he's doing.
Well,
what
Leroy
he's asked
Sané is
for.
the key to that. Leroy Sané was exactly that. And
Ferran
there were
Torres
games
freaking
where-
scored goals and didn't play.
I've seen even to the point where Leroy Sané will be. He's a player that everyone at the club loves. We identify him with the Centurions, with the beautiful football we played then, the directness, scoring goals. But the fact is, the amount of times I'd see him come on as a sub, not trap back, and Pep be close to not pulling him because he's like, I'm not looking to. So
Nobbins got upset. He got upset and left
about Leroy.
about Leroy Sané.
But
Did you have to go?
No, not yet. I think not yet. I think not yet.
So I don't know. The beautiful thing is,
you got upset, Nobbins, or something when he said Leroy Sané or something.
No, sorry. I tried to open a new tab just to tell the people in the chat that McAtee's a central player, not a winger, and I accidentally closed the tab. My bad.
Do you know, I was looking
Michael
earlier at the England.
Elise.
Again, he was another name that was mooted, but he's nowhere near ready enough to
I'm
start in week in, week out.
And that's what I asked. Do you guys want a ready now player?
Yeah,
or do you
we
want
do.
someone that will Pep will
Do you know what?
develop?
I'll be honest with you. I think where we are at the moment, if it's not a ready now player, Pep would rather look at the academy.
I think it's gonna be Mahrez if he stays, and it's gonna be Julian Alvarez filling because we look at Haaland this year. He played the second most minutes in the team after Rodri, which is astonishing to me. After
Who did Haaland?
I'm looking at your squad. Sorry, so it's Rodri, Ederson, Haaland, then a gap, then Gundogan, Michael Akanji.
Not Grealish.
No, Grealish is way far actually in the list.
Wow,
he was injured at the start of the season, to be fair.
Grealish has 1,000 minutes less than Rodri.
Wow, I was wrong on that. Haaland's up.
Me too. I'm like, every time I'm picturing Man City, Jack Grealish is on the left. So like, no.
Izake must be up there as well, right?
Injured.
Not
He
at
had a
all.
couple injuries.
Not at all.
I think-
Gundogan is up there. Surprisingly, Gundogan is way up there.
I think you think of Grealish because Grealish plays in our most important games. Like if he was fit, he played. Basically, that's probably why I think of Grealish so much.
Well, basically, I've been wrong most season when I've been talking a lot. So there we go.
Yeah, but that right, because so the reason why I'm saying that, because that right side, and I keep remembering a couple of games, which is the Spurs game and the
Which
Real Madrid
one?
game. That when you came back from 2-0
4-2, Mahrez.
It's Riyad Mahrez said, you know what, screw you all, I'm taking this into my hand, I'm winning this game.
Yeah.
Right? And Pep was applauding on the side. He was still in place to go to that side. A winger like this doesn't come so often. Someone like what Bernardo did against Real Madrid, he took the game, like he was like, it's my game.
Yeah.
It's not your game. This is my area. Right?
My space, my area.
Jack Grealish doesn't do that. He's like a kind of a system player, gets involved in the game, build up play, holds the ball, stuff like this. Because Nobbins, I'm saying that because Nobbins said he wants another Jack Grealish on the right side. I don't think Pep would want that. Pep always would want somebody probably with a more flair on one side and another guy that is more disciplined, which is Jack Grealish. If you play with more wingers that are disciplined, well, the creativity from the wingers are not there.
Oh, I'm seeing Rafinha. Don't say
No,
Rafinha.
Rafinha.
Oh,
Oh my
God.
God.
Oh, God.
He is arse.
This is
No.
But
I don't. All these names you're saying, to be honest with you, I think Mo's right. That I think this is where we are now, a bit like last summer. Remember when Chelsea came in for Ake, right? And they offered 45 million. And City said, give us a couple of days. And they went and had a look and came back and go, we're all right, cheers. And I think that would be the same with
I like Daps' analogy.
No, but that is the way it is now. That you would be looking at, like, you could tell me next season we go with the same team we had this season, and I go, okay, no problem, right? But at the same time, when people say, what does City need this summer? It's like, it depends who leaves. And I understand why anyone would leave this team now that's over a certain age. Like Foden, I wouldn't, but your Gundogans, your Mahrez, even your Walkers, at the age they are, if they can go and secure the bag elsewhere at their age, I get it, then we have to address it. If they don't go, there's no need to address it. So with Mahrez, with Bernardo Silva, if they don't go, we don't need to rush to replace them. We really don't, because we've got, you're right, we've got Alvarez who can play there. We've got Bernardo who can still play there. We've got Mahrez who can play there. So,
Foden can play there, but I think Foden's best position is behind the forwards, free flowing football behind the forwards. Let me do these couple of super chats. We didn't do them. So we did the swap thing. We said Slimaki said big up the panel, good content, unbiased opinions. Well, it's the summer only. The summer is only unbiased opinions. Wait until the season starts.
But this is me and Cass have spoke on this, that now anyone from any other fan base that thinks I've got an agenda against any, I haven't, because I don't know. This time last summer, I was talking up Arsenal, right? Because at no point did I think they're going to be our rivals. So at the moment, I have no idea. If Newcastle have a good window, they could be. If United get bought out, they could be. So at the moment, I'm just being honest with everything.
Kudos is cold. Pep is scared of another West African curse. I didn't want to say that. yeah, Tori vibes. Thanks for what you do. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really didn't want to say that.
Is that what you were meaning? Well,
yeah, I didn't want to profile. People get upset when you start profiling.
Yeah. By the way, I've just been on the way home. You know that Rory, the Chelsea?
Yeah, the dickhead, yeah.
Bro, has he landed a job on Talk Sport?
Probably.
Oh, yeah. He did. That's like a month ago. That's a month ago.
People, there is room for all of us to make some big money, clearly. How has he got that?
Specs said, Specs, if anyone watches the Filthy Fellas podcast, Wicked, Spec said, yeah, he was watching this. He thought we'd go give YouTube a go with some new content creators, and he come across Rory, and he said, yeah, I saw Chelsea and Mbappe. He said, yeah, he was trying to talk about Chelsea and Mbappe transfer, and I had to wait 9 minutes. And I'm like, he said the video was 6 minutes long. he said
to be honest with you,
nothing on Chelsea and Mbappe. He said absolutely nothing, but I was waiting 9 minutes, and I thought that was funny. It's true.
Rory,
I mean,
Rory,
it's controversial when he's going to say
Rory,
something
and what's the
someone
other guy's names? The Man City guy.
Oh, is it Booth?
Yes, and the other Man United. To be honest, they present really funny content because some of their opinions are like so much fun to watch, and the way they talk to each other.
It's like having
Dawood here. It's like
like
seriously, sometimes they say like the weirdest thing. Like,
so glad you done this. I'm gonna upload a video for you guys to see. Don't go.
That is what it is. They're coming out making wild statements, and it's like TalkSport. I get it. You got so
exactly. They got their guy. They got their guy.
I'm not knocking him. He's hustling, but
yeah, of course, doing good work because he's entertaining. He has his own channel. He's getting viewers, so it looks like he's doing a good job.
Hopefully, soon he'll go to a game. Then everything will be good.
Let me upload this video for you guys to see.
Anyway, Nobbins is about to go. So last thing, Nobbins, if the reports are correct that you get Rice and Bernardo stays because there are no I don't think anybody's gonna buy him for that price other than Saudi Arabia. You get Gvardiol and Kovacic. Do you think you should go for a quadruple next year? Are you sorry? No, I don't think you should not. Are you well equipped to go again in all competitions next year?
Yeah, there's no reason why. I mean, you cup knockout competitions are unpredictable by nature, so there's no you should go out and win them. But there's no reason why not. Look, if this side plays the same way it played from post away against Spurs to now, there's no. In my opinion, it's the best side England's ever seen. So there's no reason why that can't be the case. So yeah, I can't really think of why it wouldn't be in the best position, especially. I mean, the Rice one, especially. I think Daps mentioned it that it's looking like maybe Arsenal will be our biggest rivals next season. So allegedly, Rice,
Chelsea.
Rice was
not joking.
Their number one target. I think Chelsea need another season to figure out what they are first of all before I put them in the title race.
Can I correct both of you on who our biggest rival is?
Is it ourselves?
Yes, it is ourselves.
Oh, look at
that. If we are the best, I've said this all last season when I kept hearing City is scared of Arsenal. No, we're scared of not being the best Manchester City. If we are the best Manchester City, there is no team in this universe that we could not roll over. And that is the honest truth. If we are not the best City, Brentford can rock up and get a result against us. But if we are the best Manchester City, there's no one in the land and all the world that can take us on.
What about the Sea?
No, because we're Sharks.
Thank you so much for joining, Nobbins. It was fun. Next
sure.
time you can give us
nice to see you, Nobbins.
Debate.
Yeah,
I'm funny as drunk as last time.
I have not congratulated you on the treble because you were cutting out in a basement somewhere in Istanbul. So when the last time,
what time did you get back to your hotel, by the way?
Oh God, yeah, it was like 5 or 6 in the morning. Got back because I left the stadium about 1, and then we're stuck in a car park for 2 hours, and then our driver, who didn't speak any English, got lost. Like 3 times. There's a bridge which connects like the eastern and the European Asian side.
Europe with Asia,
He missed the bridge. How would you miss the big bridge in Istanbul? It's right there. But yeah, so we had to like go right. So yeah, so I didn't get back until like 5:30, 6. So yeah, but it was good thing we won. Otherwise, anyway, guys, enjoy the stream.
Nice to see you.
Lovely chatting to you guys. Bye.
So we'll go back to the big thing.
Pause.
Here you go.
By the way, Daps, your mic's got on mute.
Again.
Yeah,
Can we get the likes up? We're like almost 600 people here.
I've got a video for the guys. Is it possible?
Chelsea wants £75 million for him. This guy is worth maximum, I'd say, £40 million. He's not a striker. He's not a winger. Is he a midfielder?
20 minutes later.
But £50 million is a bargain for someone like Kai Havertz. He can play anywhere across the front three. He can play midfield.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, by the way,
Uh,
we like. Say his name. I'm just going to say it
Dawood,
wrong.
Dawood, bro, Dawood.
Dawood.
It's
Bro, it
DA.
doesn't
Dawood.
matter. I am English. I can't pronounce. I struggle
mean
with
you
my
are
own
English, that's just-
name.
He's
Yeah.
English
Well, I'm
as
thick.
well. Dawood
Sorry,
is English as
I'm
well.
all right. I'm thick then.
It's like the oils and stuff like when they say
Dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So if I
dude.
call him dude, is that
Dawood is good. Dawood is
right?
good.
I'll call him dude then. I hope
Yeah.
to get some more soon.
Dawood is good. But guys, can we get at least to
dude.
like 300 likes,
more
guys?
Ood, not
Oh,
dude.
more
Ood.
dudes, I can't believe it.
I've had a
Local
great
bully.
day in London, may I say? But
Can you guys send us some questions and
one
arguments?
bit of advice: if you go to a restaurant, make sure you read every dish in full. Because I saw calamari, thought I'll have some of that. No,
That's banging.
I didn't read the tartar bit.
Ooh. I only eat fried
Not for
calamari.
me, cheers. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Some mad, looked like shark brain turned up. Not for me, thanks.
Oh, you didn't get fried?
No, bro. I saw calamari and got carried away and said, I'll have some of that. Like, it was a tapas thing. So I'm ordering loads of stuff. And it was quite bougie. But the calamari came up. I was like, what's that? They're like, calamari. I was like, huh? They go, tartar, which is like raw, not cooked.
Yeah, raw.
Yeah. Might be a
What did you
side.
get? You get tuna tartar or
No,
beef tartar?
calamari tartar.
Calamari
Oh.
tartar. Yeah, that's not bad with lemon
Bro,
and stuff. That's not bad.
bro.
Oh,
Bro,
yeah,
it's
I
like
hate seafood, man. Nah.
I like seafood, but I don't like cold, raw
it.
seafood. Not for me, cheers.
No. Any seafood needs to get in the bin, man.
I am a
But
shark, but I don't go around eating raw fish.
You go eating Russian, man.
I don't know what you
Was that a bit low? Is that a bit low?
There you
Oh,
go.
my
Done. He's
It's
saying
hella
I
low.
had to school Dawood the other day. He's a rebel. Well done. we had a stream yesterday, Don. You should have been here, bro. It was a stream yesterday about Kai Havertz, the best midfielder in the league within 3 months, bro. Come on.
Top three. Do you know what? I'll be honest. It's
Top
Declan
three.
Rice thing, though. I don't want to keep going on it, but it interests me because I've said he does seem like the type of character that I think he'd be perfect for Arsenal, and I do think maybe he'd want to stay in London. But the deal hasn't been done yet. City now, the fact Gundogan's confirmed he's going, seem extremely keen, like very keen. And then you think, and this is where you start turning into a Liverpool fan and you start saying, oh, but, you know, his dad supports. But the truth is, Mount is his best friend and Mount is going United. Like, the England boys, they went out in Mykonos a couple of years ago. All Walker, Rice, they're all friends. And they want to turn Manchester Mykonos. They want to all be in Manchester, probably get a 7-bedroom house in Alderley Edge and just live the dream. The more I think about it, the more I think, why would Rice actually not want to go to City? And I think West Ham would rather sell to City. I really do think West
Can you
Ham.
you can take Mount as well if you want, so they can be best friends.
No,
Him, Walker, and Rice all together. You know, since you
No,
need
you can have Mount.
No.
I'm going to watch this. You're going to change your opinion on Mount. I honestly think that.
Nah.
Has there been no other business today? Then no.
Nah, not really. Other than Tottenham and their goalkeeper, but with Man City, it's been quite dry as usual.
What about your new owners? Are they there yet?
No, they're probably pending in the air. I don't know.
What, tomorrow?
I don't know, man. I really don't know.
This summer. This summer's going to be hilarious.
They even came out today. They came even today. The reports were saying along the lines of what's it called? I can't remember now. Saying
it's right. Terry will put a tweet out.
David Ornstein was saying
hours.
Yeah, David Ornstein says the whole process is the reason why Man United can't do any business. That's
100%, bro. Of course. Look at Chelsea last summer. Chelsea got their owners in. I'm pretty certain.
I've got earlier. Got something for you as it goes. Bundle that crap. Hear this. We said it earlier. It's potential. Don't believe it's true. Newcastle, right? Ruben Neves is getting bought to that Saudi club.
Yeah.
The same Saudi club owners of that club is Newcastle owners. They're saying 2-year loan deal to Newcastle. Imagine they don't pay for no loan fees either. I mean, no wages because it's on that whatever wages.
But do you know what? Right. So it makes sense because that's what people look. People won't talk on it, but a lot of English clubs have had feeder clubs for a long, long time. Way before City, feeder clubs has been this thing.
Yeah.
But the one thing you'd say on this deal is it's the first sign of Newcastle playing the game. Because so far, since Newcastle's ownership, they've done everything to the Arsenal rule book, which is you must be prim and proper, right? This is the first sign of Newcastle going, oh, loopholes, yeah? All right, no problem. We'll have some of them as well. And I think that's mad, you know.
Yeah, they're just playing it.
But back to Man United.
Oh, God.
You can't get away from this.
Cass, I'm texting Cass all day today. I'm trying to talk about Man United. And he's like, not now. Give it a second. Not now. Not yet. I think he wants to save the rent once it's official that they sign Mount. He wants to save it. He doesn't want to talk about it now. So he doesn't want to burn himself.
Just give away the content creation secrets and all this crap.
I mean, look, I don't know what Terry's going to do when Man United get bought out. He's got nothing to talk on no more.
Man United again scary. Man United scaring rivals. They're getting scarier.
Man United takeover imminent still. Okay.
Green tick.
But you know, tomorrow I'm expecting to wake up here, which is
I expect to wake up tomorrow as well.
Behind the world, I'm expecting to wake up and see Man United linked to Barella.
Yeah, I need this.
Oh, yeah,
actually official.
Actually,
I'm expecting an official bid from Man United.
You know what? Maybe, I can't see it.
You can't see it. There are no smoke without fire.
No, let me be real with you here. What is happening here? Yeah, Kendall does this as well. Where Kendall, any rumor that she loves, she goes, I don't like all season. Kendall's going, we're not getting top four. We're not getting. They're managing.
We're not getting Tonali.
I do. I used to do it with City. I know how much Cass wants Barella. Yeah. And also for you and him, I can just sit back and watch you two go at it. But
I'll go and Nana as well.
If they pay if they pay the money, I am not actually. I actually yesterday on a stream, I said that the best solution for Inter is to actually sell Barella and replace him with 3 players. Because
did you do a live test after that?
No, I'm serious because actually Inter at the moment we actually only have 14 players that are actually can go next year for the league. And we're about to sell Brozovic, and we're only going to get a replacement for him. So we have 4 assets at Inter that are worth about 70 or 60 million and up pounds. Onana, Bastoni, Barella, and Lautaro. To get more go ahead.
No, go on.
So to get more, so our team, we had 10 players out of contract after the City game, and already some of them left, and we renewed 2. Okay. So we need to actually have a roster to go to Serie A next year to register to actually be able. Otherwise, we're going to play 7-a-side league, right?
You might win the European version of that.
Something like this. So selling an asset is a must now because these owners said we're not investing.
So what's Lukaku doing, by the way? Where's he going?
So Lukaku said, "When I'm not going to Saudi Arabia, but then, and he wants to go to Inter. Inter said, yes, you deal with Man City as we did before." Get him to loan you for free and lower your wage, and we'll take you with open arms.
What? Why? How are we in this, Victor?
You? Sorry, it was Chelsea. Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Because I've been talking about Man City for an hour. So Chelsea. And Chelsea said, no, you have to pay us 8 million pounds or euros for the loan. And Inter said, no, go take your player, release him or do whatever you want from him. We don't want him. Okay? Okay. And now Saudi Arabia said, you know what? Instead of offering you 20, we're offering you 30 million euros. But they don't want to pay the money that Chelsea wants for him. Chelsea wants 40 to 50 million pounds for him. Saudi Arabia are not going to pay that much money for him.
Yeah. Well, at least he's got Megan at home, giving him the good.
Something like this. So Inter now, they need to sell somebody. We basically have one fit striker to start next year, which is Lautaro Martinez. Dzeko went to Fenerbahce.
How do you feel about that?
So we have to sell Barella. The thing about Barella now, because Tonali is 70 million euros, they're going to want to sell Barella for 90 million euros, which is about 77 million pounds, which is what I said this morning. And the reports came after that. It's not that I know. I read it this morning in an Italian newspaper that they value Barella at 90 million euros. I read that this morning.
Well, there should be. If you're looking at what
If
The thing
Tonali
is-
is 70 million euros,
Yeah.
how much is Barella?
Do you know what
Come
the
on.
thing is? That I think what happens at Inter and maybe some other Italian clubs is they value players based on if we're selling them in the Italian league. The minute there's talk of a team outside of, well, ultimately the Premier League coming in for them, the value will go up because it's
Yeah,
like,
of course.
okay, completely different ball game now because we know they'll look at the market that players of a similar level are going for in England and go, well, if he's this, why is this guy not this? So, but why is your club so poor?
You're spot on. You're spot on
China.
because Inter said, a journalist said that Inter are waiting for the sale of Declan Rice to value Barella based on that. Can you imagine this?
I'm
They're
just
literally
seeing-
waiting
I'm
for
just seeing your stress ball again.
quick
People, real quick. I'm not going to ask for super chats, but we need to deal with this stress ball. Can you get the likes up so we make that little bit more money? We need to donate something to Inter Milan because Mo, I can't come on every show with you and see you with the Inter Milan stress ball. Like, come on, bro. Come on,
Inter
man.
are linked to Shalaba and Aspilicueta free loans.
All right, keep the stress ball.
Well,
Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So basically, the one that you thought about, I saw, was it the Mars? No. So there's that for the Nana thing. Man United are going to bid sign like 40 million euros potentially, but Inter are looking towards 50
Which
million
Onana?
euros.
Which
Your
one?
Nana. Your Nana.
40 million euros?
No, we're prepared to bid 40 million euros, but your club saying they want closer to 50 million euros.
I think it's gonna be close to be
How old
honest
is
with
he?
you. I think it's gonna be at least
27.
60, maybe more than 50 million pounds, guys. Maybe I
27.
don't know, unless they are
27.
desperate. Because I don't know. But listen, the problem is we thought that the club made money. We made 70 million out of unexpected money out of Champions League, unexpected money, and they said we're not investing that money. We're paying the loan back.
Fair play. They're looking after your club long term.
Other than that, there's nothing else.
Yeah.
It's a nice little stream.
Thursday night, been a great day, great night. Everything's all right.
Yeah.
Everyone, have a great weekend.
Oh, okay.
And
We'll
be
see you
good.
tomorrow,
And
guys.
if you can't be good, be careful.
And wash your hands.